1. Introduction. A background of the research. Language contact is when two or more languages or communities speaking these languages come in contact with each other. Coming together of individuals or communities speaking distinct language most often result into bilingual lives within the communities or its members. In this age of widespread global communication, you can imagine that a language or speech community can rarely be monolingual. Even if there were an isolated monolingual community somewhere, it will still have bilingual names, although within the language varieties or dialects of that same language. Reason for code switching: speakers may switch from one code to another either to show solidarity with a social group, to distinguish oneself, to participate in social encounters, to discuss a certain topic, to express feelings and affections, or to impress and persuade the audience. Sociolinguistic examines the interplay of language and society, with language as the starting point. Varieties is the key concept applied to language itself and to its use. The basic premise of sociolinguistics is that language is variable and changing. As a result, language is not homogeneous, not for the individual user, and not within or among groups of speakers who use the same language. The sociolinguistics are people studying a language must be familiar with a code. 4. Findings and discussion. Findings. Based on research objection, we will be faced with different society who has the different language. It makes possible to us facing the problem of communication in different situations. Teaching is a widely observed phenomenon in multilingual and multicultural communities, especially in foreign language teaching. Teaching is the one of alternative way to bilingual or two or more languages in the same conversation, according Hymas 1974 defines code switching as a common term for alternative use of two or more languages, varieties of a language, or even speech styles, while Bokama 1989. Thus, when the teacher teaches a foreign language, code switching also becomes strategies learning in order to develop for the student's skill in English language.
Hello guys, my name is Rena Jarina. I'm from Group 1. I will present our topic, Part 2 Theories. Theories of our research. According from the expert, we found some theories from our research. The first, according Fishman, sociolinguistics is the study of the characteristic of language varieties, the characteristic of their function, and the characteristic of their speaker, as these three constantly interact, change, and change one another within a speech community. The second, C. Crabtree and H. Windelson. Sociolinguistics is the study of language operation. Its purpose is to investigate how the convention of the language use related to other aspects of social behavior. Third, Nancy Parrow Kirsten 1980. Sociolinguistics is a developing subfield of linguistics which takes speech variation as its focus, view variation or its social context. 4. William Labov has called sociolinguistics scholar linguistics. in relation to the context among many linguistics working in a broadly Chomsky framework. The language can be dissociated from its social function. 5. Ruben Chacon Beltré. In an introduction to social linguistics, observes that in social linguistics, the stress is placed on language and its role within communication. 6. Hudson, 1996. Social linguistics is the study of language in relation to the society. They are interaction in explaining why speaking differently in different social contexts, and they are concerned with identify the social function of language and the way it is used to convey social meaning. Definition of code switching and code mixing. Code switching is a widely observed phenomenon in multilingual and multicultural communities, especially in foreign language teaching. Mixing and switching broadly occur to some extent in the speech of all bilinguals, so that there is a sense in which a person capable of using two languages.
Chapter 3 Research Design. In this section, we continue to write Chapter 3 at some points that you have to do. The first is about research design, second, instrument of the data, third, how to collect the data, and the fourth, how to analyze the data. First, research design. A code may be a language or a variety or style of language. The term code mixing emphasizes hybridization, and the term code switching emphasizes movement from one language to another. Mixing and switching probably occur to some extent that in the speech of all bilinguals, so there is a sense in which person capable of using two languages. While putting phenomena of code switching in a context, the function of code switching will be introduced in various aspects. The first aspect is its function in bilingual community settings will briefly be explained by giving a sample authentic conversation which will help the reader deduce ideas about its possible application in educational context. Second is functionality of code switching in the teacher's classroom discourse will be introduced with its aspect, topic switch, effective function, and repetitive function. The third, the focus will shift student code switching by introducing some basic functional perspective as equivalence, floor holding, reiteration, and conflict control. Then Cook described the Institute of Linguistic Examination in Language for an International Communication Test as one which utilizes code switching. At the beginner's level, students may use the single language for obtaining information for material to answer comprehension question at the first language. The second, at the advanced stage, the student may be required the research topic provide a report in the first language. The second is instrument of data. In our daily life, we'll be faced with different societies which have different language. It makes possible to us facing the problem of communicating in different situations, and it also takes effect in the class when we talk foreign language for students. Code switching is a widely observed phenomenon in multilingual and multicultural communities, especially foreign language teaching. Term in sociology for language and special speech that draws the differing extent on it to list two languages combined in different ways as when the student in class. For example, Indonesian main language and English as a bilingual. They say, Miss, I want to pergi to toilet. Um, Code may be language or variety style of language. The term code mixing emphasizes hybridization. Then, how to collect the data? How to collect the data? Fisherman in Sierra Leone described that now the reason code switching is based on point of view of sociolinguistic such as the first speaker, the second listener or participant, the third changing condition because of the third person, and the fourth changing from formal into informal, and the five changing the topic. From the screen above, we can conclude that many reasons why people make code switching and code mixing to make clear what they want to express to the listener. In the relation to the situation and the topic, the other function is reiteration, which will be pointed by Eldridge. Messages are reinforced, emphasized, or clarified where the message has already transmitted in one code, but not understood. In this case, the message in the target language is repeated in the student's native tongue, through which the learner tries to give meaning by making use of a repetition technique. At the beginner levels, students may use the second language for obtaining information from material, and the advanced stage students may require to research a topic and provide a report in the first language. The last is how to analyze the data. Term in sociolinguistic and special speech draw to different extent, at least two languages combined in different ways, as when he studied in class, as Indonesian students want to learn English language as a bilingual. When he want to go to toilet, Miss, I want to pergi to toilet. It's mean he it mix it up with pergi toilet. I want to pergi means he makes it for what we understand to be equal. A code may be language or a variety style of language, and the term mixing emphasizes hybridization, probably equal to some extent of speech all bilinguals, in a sense which person capable of using two languages.
Friends, good morning, my friends. Okay, my name is Jessica Mintarani. As I group one, I group one. I will read about the our mini research and entitled a contrastive code mixing between code switching of the student. Here I bring the conclusion of the title that we broke. Okay, my friends, I want to read the conclusion about the mini research with group 1. Code switching is a term in the linguistic referring to using more than one language and variety in the conversation, while other experts start and code switching is the mixing of the words, phrase, and sentence from two distinct grammatical or sub system under a cross sentence boundaries within the same speech event. Code mixing. Code mixing, as the term refers to the use of one or more languages for the consistent transfer of linguistic units from one language into another and by such a language mixture developing a new new resi- restorative restorative code of the linguistic interaction. Teacher makes code switching in the class to make the meaning clear and transfer the knowledge to students in the efficient way. Yet, in the should be kept to mind. It should be kept in mind that in the the long term, long term, when the student experience interaction with a native speakers of the target language, the code switching may be a barrier switch which prevents mutual intelligibility. Thank you, my friends, and the presentation in the about the capture mini research, constructive analysis, and code mixing between code switching of the students. And my friends, is the grateful the study.